We're just going to talk about this topic, crypto. And at any point, if you can't hear me, let me know. And then we ask questions. And then we go to the practice. We look at a typical crypto account and how to open an account. Those are the two things we're going to look at. If you want to on your camera, you're most welcome. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Loud
All
and
right.
clear.
If I'd like us to write on the chat box, what do you want to gain from this conversation today? What we're going to discuss, no financial advice. It's just for conversation. A lot of people have opinions about this. It's a very sensitive and divergent topic. And while talking, I might just say a bit of my own personal opinion. Today, we're going to be talking about crypto basics. Just for background, I've been investing in crypto since 2016. I'm actually an investment enthusiast. I actually came into crypto by accident. I was going to do a transfer to someone, and the person said he wanted crypto. I was like, what's that? And they showed me how to do it, and then I started doing it from 2016 to 2018, and I just had this thought that, wow, what if this thing, the value gets so high that everybody wants it? Because then not many people knew about crypto. I decided to keep a certain, that time it was around $1,000 for one. Today is about 118,000. So I decided to keep a certain, I just said, let me just forget this amount and see what it turns to in the next 10 years, right? And that was how I started. That's my personal experience with crypto. But the way I understand crypto is from money generally. You have to understand how money works. We all know how money works, right? Back then, the money is just handled from barter system. Can you imagine what it felt like? We always think of what it felt like when there was no mobile phone, right? But that was how they lived until we got this paper money, where we now believe that a certain paper is worth a certain amount and can exchange for a certain volume of goods. And then we transitioned into these plastic cards, money in plastic cards. And then again, after a while, right, we now have electronic money. We all have Apple Pay on our phones. If you want to buy stuff now, you just tap your card and then you pay. I was talking to somebody yesterday. He told me his phone broke. Right, it actually struck me yesterday. His phone broke. He has an iPhone. It broke. The camera lens broke, so he couldn't use the money on his account. Right, and the guy was actually devastated. The only option they gave him at the Apple store was that he needed to fix the phone, and it was going to cost him around $200. You can imagine, to put the money on his electronic payments, Apple Pay, he needed to spend $200 to fix the phone. And the other option they gave him was to sign on to another Apple account and then try to put it. So you see how money has become electronic. And then, of course, we have this cryptocurrency. And we're going to talk on that a bit more. And then what is fiat? So of course, we know that fiat currency is paper money, right? That's the paper, like we discussed in the previous slide. On its own, it doesn't have intrinsic value. I know on our platform, funny enough, Michael mentioned intrinsic value on our WhatsApp group just this morning. And I mean, coincidentally, it's part of what I have on this slide, right? Now, on its own, what is it worth? Money on paper. It's just like every other paper, but the value is from what the federal government says it's worth, right? So if the federal government prints more money, the money you have becomes more worthless. So the value is linked to the federal government. So the government has a responsibility to uphold the economy and make sure that the value of money stays stable by trying to make it scarce, basically. And now, let's talk about the history of Bitcoin. We know this Nakamoto guy. He was the guy that invented Bitcoin in 2007. And then this is how Bitcoin grew. In 2012, Coinbase, a brokerage platform, started onboarding Bitcoin on its platform. And then, of course, the value grew as events happened. PayPal announced Bitcoin integration. Multiple institutions looked at Bitcoin technology. And please take your time. I'll probably share a link later on so that you read up Bitcoin technology. And then many view it as a gold alternative because it's a store of value, right? Some people have it in their reserve, most countries, actually. A country, El Salvador, made it their illegal tender. So you can actually go to a store and buy stuff with Bitcoin in this country. And then, of course, today, a lot of institutional investors, the likes of BlackRock, Vanguard, they now buy Bitcoin as part of their reserve, as part of their holdings, right? And we all know what happens when institutional investors invest in an asset, the value goes up because there's a lot of research that go into, them making that decision to buy, all right? Now, so what are the key takeaways? How does crypto work? Bitcoin is a decentralized digital payment system. This is what the whole cryptocurrency seeks to solve because the world now thought, hey, there should be a decentralized process of making transfers without anybody interfering, without the government controlling the price, without anybody blocking you from SWIFT, which is the global payment platform, right? Bitcoin, and the whole crypto network overrides that. Okay, it operates without a financial system or authorities. The blockchain is the technology around it, which is simply a technology that has a chain of events on the block, right? And it's controlled by miners. And then mining is the process of validating transaction on the Bitcoin platform, and it's handled by miners. And these miners are paid a certain fee for their inputs, right? You access your Bitcoin using a private wallet and private keys, all right? So this is very important. So if you have Bitcoin on your exchange, so if you want to buy Bitcoin, just like you do for stocks, right? You download a brokerage app, right? You purchase the Bitcoin and then you lock the Bitcoin using your password or what they call private keys, all right? And then, and of course, people make money when the price of Bitcoin appreciates. All right, now moving on. So what is the Bitcoin journey so far, okay? I did this chart on my Twitter. I was just when the price went to 120,000, I was just blown away, because this is 26,000 growth since 2016. It's just unbelievable. And you know the funny thing, I always say, I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of misconception around Bitcoin out there. But the truth is it's been there for over 15 years, right? And it's still, and the funny thing is that it's getting stronger. So when Bitcoin started, a lot of investment around it was done by retail investors. Retail meaning you and I, right? And people were just using it for all sort of things. I remember, I think, I stand to be corrected, but I think most of the misconception is from the fact that because it's decentralized and there's no institution that controls it, in other words, I can send Bitcoin to you without the need of a third party, without my bank, without the federal government, controlling the price. Because it's decentralized, it's actually susceptible to, should I say, phishing activities. So people can actually send money and then you can't even have a trace of it. That again is positive, and it also has a negative implication. So a lot of people started using it for negative things, right? Now, but then again, now you have institutional investors now buying this Bitcoin as an asset they have. By the way, if you don't know, institutional investors are large asset managers. So they are companies that handle assets for big investors. So they help them invest their money. For instance, if I'm an institutional investor, you give me your money, I help you buy an asset, and then when the asset grows, I pay you a certain amount. So that's what they do basically. So now, and they have high credit rating, they have low risk appetite. So now they've started seeing the need to invest in this asset, Bitcoin. So if you see and I did a little note here, I said this means if you buy Bitcoin for 1,000, or rather if you bought in 2016, the value is going to be worth 270,000 today. Isn't it mind blowing? I mean, it's just, Grace, what will you do with 270,000 today? Assuming you even bought for 10,000, what that means is that it's going to be 2.7 million if you bought $10,000.
I'm telling you, I spoke with a manager yesterday at RBC about this Bitcoin thing, because he was asking me, Grace, I'm going golfing today. What would you be doing? What would you be doing today? And I said, I have a Bitcoin class briefly. Yeah. And he was like, there's been a lot of scam and fraud associated with it. So I said, that's why I'm coming for the class today, because I have questions. But sincerely speaking, I've also had good news. I was privileged to speak with someone who is also a member of East African branch and she mentioned that in Kenya, women are buying lands just using Bitcoin.
Like I said, if you hear there's God rest the soul of people that died in plane crash. But if you hear there's a plane crash and there's a huge number of people that die on plane crash, you think that taking a flight is very risky, right? But what about accidents that happen on the road every day? If you look at the numbers, you see that I was actually blown away when I heard that the safest means of traveling is by taking a flight, right? Despite the huge number you hear. Now, I say that to say that, how many scams do you hear that happen on bank accounts on a daily basis, right? So whenever there's money involved, there's gonna be some guys that want to make profit from it. Make no mistake about that. But the thing about Bitcoin, like I said previously, is because there's no central control, and like I said, it's a positive and it's also a drawback, because there's nobody, controlling that transfer of money peer to peer. So someone can actually get into your wallet and then move your money to a third party, and trust me, that money is gone. You're not reporting to anybody. There's no federal government to escalate to. There's no bank to report to. That is the risk. Make no mistake about it. But then again, what about the fact that you can make global transfers within minutes? So if I want to send money now to my home country, and I want to send it through Bitcoin, within minutes the person has the money. And if I want to send, the fee is like 5% of what the bank will charge you. Okay? And there's a lot of technology that is built on this Bitcoin. I was on Discord last week, and I was looking for a developer to help me do something. And the guy said I should pay him in crypto. And I was discussing with quite a number of them, and I saw that a lot of people on Discord, they don't allow bank-to-bank transfer because they want their money instantly. And they're probably in Namibia, they're probably in Russia, they are all over the world. Just imagine what it would take you to do a transfer from one of our local banks here in Canada to a bank in Russia. It's almost, if you find a way around it, you're going to use Swift. It's probably going to take about 2 weeks or 1 week. But then with Bitcoin, the person gets the money instantly. It blew my mind because it solves a lot of problems. So people are buying lands. If you go, there was a news I saw, you can actually buy a property in Dubai now with Bitcoin, right? So, and the reason is because the fee is less, the speed is unbelievable, and it's actually very, very safe. In terms of safety, I'll leave you to, do that research around the safety of blockchain. In terms of growth, so a lot of people say, oh, it's too late. It's actually 117,000. You don't have to buy the full Bitcoin. You can buy any amount, assuming you buy $50. So the way to look at growth actually is in percentages. You just have to be friends with percentages, right? So if the asset grows by 50%, a lot of people actually, by the way, people are saying that Bitcoin is going to become $1 million in the next 5 years. And I don't doubt it, to be honest with you. If it can grow this much, $1 million is less than 10x from today. Okay. Now, so if you invest $50, right, and the Bitcoin and your Bitcoin value, this 117,000 grows by 50%, becomes around maybe 180,000 or so. It means that your $50 has become, has grown by $25 as well. So that's the way to look at it. So going with any amount you have, you don't have to buy one full Bitcoin. So what are the risks involved? We talked about it, volatility. There was a post on our group today about the fact that the US Senate passed a law to have their own stable coin. They are investing in this thing because they see the value in it. They think it's going to be the next big thing. So you and I, if we're still here trying to understand, you just have to just do more research. That's what I would say. I was going to say that if the US decides to sell their Bitcoin, no doubt the price will drop. But are they going to sell everything on their wallet? I don't think so, because they see the value in it. So if they sell, it drops, and that's an opportunity for you to buy, because they're going to accumulate more, and then the value grows again. Every asset, goes like a roller coaster. It drops, it goes high. But you want to look at the average growth over a period of time. We've talked about scams associated with it because it's decentralized, and of course there's a lot of regulations because that banks are threatened. I'll give you one of the crypto we like talking about, XRP. So they've been trying to get approval from the government, right? The moment they get that approval, their value is going to grow, right? So there are regulatory constraints. There might be a regulation that says, hey, we're going to ban Bitcoin, or hey, we're going to stop using Bitcoin. Those are some of the risks in crypto, right? And of course, you have some people that hold custody. These are the brokerage platforms like Coinbase, like Binance, and the likes. And then, there are some people that might buy and then they decide to sell everything. That's the emotional trading out there. So how will you invest in $100,000 today? I think the biggest thing in investment is diversification. I read a book recently, The Psychology of Money, and the guy said something that stuck with me. He said, if anybody knew exactly what's going to happen in the market tomorrow, they'll probably be the richest person in the world. So that tells you that nobody knows, actually. So that's why I say that the biggest thing we need to take note of as investors is to diversify your investments. And in diversifying your investments, you want to make sure you invest GICs in Canada here. The interest rate is low, maybe 2%, 3%, but the risk is also low. Anyway, you see high return, just know that the risk is high. You want to invest in bond as well, maybe 15% of this. That's going to be how much? 15,000 in bonds, right? And then this is how I'll do mine. I'd like to see yours later. Maybe I'll learn from that as well. So you want to do real estate, whether you do, physical properties, or you do real estate investment trusts, or any form of real estate. You want to have a bite of real estate, right? And me, I would like to do 50% in stocks. And then, of course, I'll do at least 5% in crypto. And the reason why I'll do that is because if things go bust, I'll only lose 5,000. So in my investments, and Grace, to answer your question around that risk thing, is I'm not going to say because of all these things, I will not invest in crypto. What I'll do is I'm just going to put a little bit of the money there, or based on my risk appetite. I know someone that has 20% investment of his portfolio, his total assets in crypto. And I hope we all have, just like a side note here, I hope we know our portfolio, right? These are the kind of things you do on Saturday like this. You can chat me up later. I'll teach you how to set a portfolio. I'm actually very big on portfolio spread, right? So everything you have to document it. You have to put it somewhere. And you know how you spread it. You want to know, okay, how much do I have in GIC? How much do I have in stocks? How much do I have in any assets? Maybe you're buying gold. How much do I have in gold? How much do I have in real estate? How much is my house worth, right? So that tells you how you're exposed. So if anything happens on this side, you need to also have something to hedge against that risk, because all types of investments have risk. Make no mistake about it, right? Even the safest here, which might be bonds, treasury bonds, it has risk elements, because what if the country goes bankrupt? The thing there is there's no asset that doesn't have intrinsic risk, right? So the thing is, you don't want to be overly exposed to a particular asset. You want to make sure you diversify. Just so take your time. So this is how I'll spread 100,000. So I just wanted to point out that you don't want to be overly exposed to crypto. You just want to take a bite of it. Basically, I actually have more than 5% of my portfolio on crypto personally. But you can do 1%, they say the way to learn how to swim, right, is to you put one leg first, you check whether the water is deep, and then based on, and if you put your money there, you see your interest. Anywhere you see a news headline, you want to read because you're now following the money, right? So what are the Bitcoin outlook? So there's what they call halving. So anytime it halves, what do you think happens, right? The law of demand and supply is the biggest thing we need to take note of is the second biggest thing we need to take note of in investing, because it creates scarcity. So when it has the scarcity and then the demand is more, right? Everybody's looking for it and it's scarce, so the price goes up, okay? So the next thing you want to look out for is rising institutional adoption. So I told you about the fact that back then it was just retail investors. Today, so a lot of institutions, BlackRock, Vanguard. No, I don't think Vanguard is there, but there's this guy called MicroStrategy. You need to go and Google MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor. He's the biggest holder of Bitcoin. He has billions of dollars in Bitcoin. And I mean, it's making a lot of money. Now, the DeFi factor, the fact that people use Bitcoin blockchain for a lot of things, logistics, a lot of logistics companies, Walmart, they use Bitcoin for their logistics. I mean, blockchain technology for their logistics. Many financial institutions, I don't know, a lot of us are into investing here. So you know the fact that a lot of companies like Robinhood, like SoFi, they are heavily invested in blockchain technology. And the more they invest in it, the more people find value in Bitcoin, the more your Bitcoin wallet will just be growing. So that's why you need to, I'm just doing this to sensitize us to get to be curious about this topic and then go and do more research, right? So now, anytime there's regulatory approval, right? Just like when Trump was coming, one of the things he promised was that he was gonna legalize Bitcoin. He was gonna lift all regulations around Bitcoin, and the price surged from around 60,000 to 103,000. It was just unbelievable, right? And he's doing it today. You see, that's why Bitcoin is surging, and you see a lot of Bitcoin platforms are receiving approval from their SEC. Okay, all right. The fact that in future there's going to be only 21 million Bitcoins means that there's going to be scarcity. Everybody's going to start looking for it. That's the way I think of it, actually. And it's going to be scarce. Okay, you want to get into any commodity or any asset that's going to be scarce at some point. Okay, so that's the outlook and that's the presentation. But I'll just encourage you to follow me on Twitter as we begin to look at. We're going to look at the practical aspect now, and just on this slide, I was going to say that there are other assets you want to invest if you're not disposed to Bitcoin, right? There's actually one I actually love so much, all right? And if you want to know more about that asset, I don't want to take your time here. Just chat me. I'll probably drop my number here. You call me, you can discuss more about it. So I'll show you how to set up the assets. So while you have some risky investments, you want to also have some assets that will help you in future when you can no longer work, okay? But then let's talk about the practical aspect today.
I'm trying to mirror your situation is positive. So how then do I now convert it to cash? Because as I said yesterday, the banks are saying that, okay, we're not doing that because they've been scammed so many times, leaving me with like, okay, so how do I now convert it to cash? I want to get it into our real life currency and use it like an everyday transaction. How does that work?
Great. That's a fantastic question. And that's what I was going to with the practical aspect. Just like your bank, right? If you want to keep your money, you put your money in a bank. That's the same way if you buy Bitcoin, you put it on a brokerage app like blockchain. There are a number of them. There's blockchain, there's Coinbase, there's Binance, there's Kraken, so their job is to hold your Bitcoin in their wallets. Just the same way the bank job is to hold your money in their wallets, which is your account. Okay. So think of it that way. That's what these brokerage apps do for you. So blockchain is just one of them. Right? So they help you hold the money, they help you transfer it. They can link it to your bank account. You can also transfer it to someone else across the world, like I said earlier. So that your $1,000 right there, you can transfer it to anybody, you can sell it, and then the person will pay you in cash. So this is Coinbase. If you want to download this, all you have to do is you go over to, of course, we all know how to just go to App Store or whatever you use, maybe Play Store. You just search, and then you come over here, you type Coinbase, and then you search, you see Coinbase right there. It's open, but because I've already downloaded it. But if you don't have it already, you can click Get, and of course, you know how to do this. And the other platform is Crypto.com. It's also very popular on this part of the world. And then you click Open, and the first thing you're going to see is your page. This will show your amount, the amount you have, right? The amount you have on the Coinbase app. That's the first thing it's going to show when you actually open it. Is you're going to go through KYC. Same way you do KYC when you want to open a bank account, send your name, so normal KYC, address, and other things for tax purposes. So if you want to transfer, let's assume I have this money now, I have this shows my balance in crypto, and I also have some cash there. If I want to transfer it, I just click on transfer. See this option. It says, do you want to send it to crypto? Do you want to send crypto to someone? And let's assume I click on this, receive crypto. I want to receive crypto from Beverly, right? So there are several types of crypto. Bitcoin is just one of them, right? So you have Bitcoin, SRP, Ethereum. So assuming I want to receive, I'll click on that receive crypto. I just click, okay, I want to receive Bitcoin, right? Now you see, it's just saying, how do you want to receive this Bitcoin? You see what I told you? If you click on receive it from the Bitcoin network, if I click on that, I have to copy this address. This address is like my account number. I will just give you this address. I'll send it to you anyhow, maybe text message, WhatsApp or whatever. And when you get this address, I'll just put it on chat for you, right? So you see, once I send it to you, it's going to be available for 33 minutes. And they are saying here that if I use this, I'll get the money in 34 minutes. Assuming I'm in Russia or you're sending this money from Yugoslavia, it's going to take the same 34 minutes. Will you use that 4 minutes to send money across countries? That's the question. That's the problem Bitcoin is seeking to solve, right? But now, if I send you that wallet on chat, you will now come to this side, right? You now say send Bitcoin because you are the one sending to me. They're asking you, paste, send crypto to where do you want to send it? I'll just paste that same wallet address here. I'll now proceed, right? And when I proceed, it's telling me that this address I pasted is for Bitcoin. I'll now click Bitcoin that I'm sending. It's not asking me, this is the amount I have available. How much do you want to send? Let's assume I want to send 200 to you. At some point, I have to stop before this thing goes. It's my own address because I can't send to myself, obviously. So if it was to another party, it's going to show us, hey, you're sending $200 to this guy. And then I approve. And in 34 minutes, you receive the money. That is how you send. Okay. And that is how you receive. Now, coming to your question. So to deposit cash, these are just some of the live features on the platform. And to deposit to what's this option we selected now? To deposit cash. So you can fund from Interact. All the normal things we know, we can use Interact. If you click on it, it's telling you, in fact, to send money from Interact to Bitcoin wallet is instant. It will amaze you. So I say, okay, I want to send $200 or $2. It will say select your bank app. It's going to bring up all the banks that you know in this Canada. And then you select the bank, you link your bank, and then you see, it has taken me to the interface where I'll select the bank, put my login details, and then, of course, the rest is history, like they say. So let me show you one other feature, and then we can ask questions as we begin to wrap up. So the last feature we're going to talk about is to withdraw cash. Yeah, Beverly, this comes to your question. Let's assume you invested 10,000 and you made about 15,000 and you want to pull out 5,000. You just come over here, click, see, transfer cash to your bank account. Straight up, it will go to your bank account. So there are so many features. Set up recurrent buy. You can say buy Bitcoin. You're seeing that this Bitcoin is going high. You want to buy $10 every week, right? You can just come here. You say, okay, every week, buy $10 for me. I'm not quite sure why this is okay. Yeah. Say buy $10. You change it at the top here. Is it a one-time or recurrent buy? Click on recurrent. How frequent do you want to buy it? Every 1st and 15th, monthly. So those are the features you can set up. And then you click review, and then you review order, just giving you recurrent every week. And then the fee is going to be $0.99. Okay. And then you place the order and it goes. So I believe I'll give you an example. Bybit is partnering with Robinhood today. They're helping them do what they call tokenization.
Thank you. One other question, then I'll just finish. So you mentioned the halving, like when maybe Bitcoin gets enough lapsed or something. So I said maybe the next forecast is going to happen soon. And so when it goes off, so let's say as of today, BTC is 120 as an example, 120K. So when it go off, is it that the price will now come to half, or is the volume available that is halving? Is it
the latter? How do they say latter or former? So yes, the volume will not drop. The price will not drop. It's the volume out there that will drop. Yeah. So whenever that thing, because the volume drops, it will become scarce. So the price will go up. Yeah.
Demand will be more than supply.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's a fantastic question because just let me go out there, maybe type in ChatGPT what was Bitcoin reaction in previous halving? So whenever it halves, you see how the price reacted. That will give you a sense of what will happen. We said 30 minutes and we've done 1 hour. How time flies when you're discussing your favorite topic. And speaking of my favorite topic, I have a favorite investment. If you want to know another type of investment and help you have a better plan for your future, chat me up anytime. I'm going to drop my number. I'm a very risk-averse investor. I do what is known with a little bit of the unknown. I just do the unknown just a little bit. So if you ask me for top 5 coins, to be honest with you, I wish I knew. If I knew, I wouldn't be here. I'll probably be in Hawaii, flexing. So, but the thing is, there are different types of crypto. I don't take our time. We have stable coins. We have altcoins. We have all types of coins. There are some that are stable, just like the name suggests, stable coin, like what they call USDC, USDT. Those are stable. They are tied with the US. The value is tied with the US dollar, right? And then there are what they call altcoins, and then they have what you call meme coins. I don't even have a single meme coin. I don't do meme coins. I'm sorry. But then some people do, and I know somebody that I share is my personal opinion. It's not necessarily, I'm not an expert on crypto. So what are the prospects for other currencies like Ethereum? Good question. So Ethereum it has high potential. So because, they said Bitcoin's strength is in the fact that they believe it's going to be scarce. Ethereum's strength is in the fact that a lot of technology are done on Ethereum platform. So Ethereum is used to do other things like making payment platforms faster. Platforms like Robinhood trading apps are run under the Ethereum network. Ethereum creates the infrastructure for payment companies to embed on, right? So please, you can go and research. There's a company called Circle. It just did their IPO, and today they rose by I think they've done more than 500x. They are the ones that own USDC. I think someone, Melanie shared it on our group today. That company, that USDC is owned by Circle. Circle is the one that owns USDC, and they run on Ethereum, infrastructure. So there's huge opportunity around Ethereum, even though Ethereum is very, very slow. I'm not very bullish on Ethereum, but of course, once Bitcoin rises, everything follows. Is stablecoin not different from cryptocurrency? No, it's not different. It's the same thing. It's just a type of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is the parent. Then stablecoin, altcoin, meme coin, they are different types. They have different use cases and they have different volatility. Stablecoin is just digital money. You have $10 today. You want to convert it to digital $10. You convert your $10 to USDT, which is digital version of that $10, and use it and buy something online. That's what stablecoin is. If US dollar goes up, the stablecoin goes up. If US dollar goes down, the stablecoin goes down, growing more. Probably we'll have to do another session maybe later on if you guys want to maybe go deeper. There are other things you can do around Bitcoin. There are people that do Bitcoin trading. There are other ways to make money around it. But the bottom line of our conversation today is you just want to be on the know. Just don't get left out. Trust me, it's worth staying around the corridors. Okay, bye for now. Have a good one.